Hi everyone, Carmel Riley, founder, principal and CEO of CRSE Group. I want to know, which groups do you identify with? Maybe you're a people leader or an informal leader or workplace ally. You're committed to inclusive employment, but you're struggling to transform the company culture of diversity, inclusion and belonging towards business as usual. Or maybe you're a business facing workforce shortages, or you're wanting to start your own business and you really want to learn how to unlock your local opportunities of your local hidden workforce and the transferable skill sets they could bring to elevate your business. Or perhaps you're part of the third group. You're really a business who's wanting to develop new relationships with social benefit suppliers to better deliver on your social procurement objectives. Whichever of those three groups you identify with, or whether you identify with the fourth group, which is I don't really know yet, I want to introduce you to our inclusive leadership training developed over the last 5 years since CRSE Group was established. CRSE Group is proud to offer two versions of our inclusive leadership training. Our preferred option is our full day workshop that covers 5 modules looking at setting the scene of inclusive leadership and why it matters, introduction to intersectionality, anti-racism and neurodiversity, deep dives into microaggressions, psychological safety and performance through the lens of inclusive leadership, strategies moving forward, looking at unconscious bias and reflective practice, and applying these learnings through case study. The second module includes learning about ourselves, introducing participants to intentional change theory, and creating an understanding of your inclusive leadership shadow. The third module is around developing your soft skills, specifically to address gaps in our inclusive leadership capability. The afternoon session then looks at developing a personal action plan where we introduce immunity to change and strategies to work through that and create our personal action plan. And the final module is about support moving forward. We know with this critical work that we cannot offer one-day training and then leave our participants hanging without the support to help them really take that knowledge into behaviour change. So we offer a resource course toolkit. We offer you organisations to further the learning and development within your organisation relative to your particular priorities. We can introduce you to the CRSE Group Inclusive Leadership community, and we offer a 2-hour online debrief within a fortnight of the in-person training. Our second option is our condensed module for organisations that are really keen at dipping their toe into increasing awareness around inclusive leadership, but cannot release their staff for a full day workshop. The condensed version puts a hold on the soft skills module, but the other modules are included with a recognition that when the time is right, we can return to really support upskill those soft skills relative to inclusive leadership. So what's the big deal regarding inclusive leadership? There's a lot of existing evidence out in relation to the increased performance, increased innovation, increased productivity and efficiencies that can be delivered when you truly embrace that culture of diversity, inclusion and belonging. But from my perspective, what I've observed over the last 5 years is that inclusive leadership is almost like the secret sauce of bringing together your strategic HR priorities, your strategic procurement priorities within the environment of environment, social and governance reporting. And then there's the reality check. Thanks to Diversity Council Australia and their Inclusion at Work Index, we have seen that the most recent results paint a worrying picture for many workplaces, with cases of discrimination, harassment and non-inclusive managers on the rise post-pandemic. So what have our clients and prospective clients told us about our inclusive leadership training? From Hume City Council, we surveyed all business members of our SEED program in Hume City, and your training was rated as the most needed for our community. And a contractor from Major Roads Projects Victoria has said, I just wanted to thank you and MRPV for the inclusive leadership training session held yesterday. CRSE were very informative, and thank you for taking this initiative to the industry. In the spirit of inclusion, it was great to discuss these important issues with fellow industry members. I appreciate MRPV being so proactive in this space. Keep going, and we will come with you. From another state government department, I have two attendees from another department attending as I spoke to them about how impactful the session was for me. So there's interest in assessing. Just quietly, in my opinion, this training should be mandatory no matter what workplace you work in. And lastly, a local service provider in Gippsland. We want you to be our service delivery partner for inclusive leadership. Your ability to intertwine skills and lived experience is unique. We can see this as more than an awareness program. It brings skill building to the forefront. I always tell prospective clients that whilst the content covered in our inclusive leadership training may be relatively accessible outside of CRSE Group, it is the way we facilitate in a trauma-informed manner that makes the difference to the outcomes from the training. So what are trauma-informed principles of training? The principles are safety, trust, choice, collaboration, empowerment, and respect for diversity. We always ask ourselves when we are co-designing with our clients or when we are delivering our existing training, how might we create an environment that's emotionally, psychologically, and physically safe for participants? How might we create that swift trust environment required for authentic and impactful conversation and learning in time-limited environments? How might we embed choice into our service offering to meet the needs of participants? How might we create a communicating with rather than a communicating to approach towards learning and development? How can we acknowledge shared wisdom, learn from each other, and stretch our personal growth collectively? How might we empower our participants to take their learnings and translate them into action? How can we nurture their ability for personal change in complex work environments? And lastly, how might we demonstrate and respect diversity in all its forms and translate this skill building towards genuine inclusive leadership across a multitude of sectors? Taking that one step further, CRSE Group prouds ourselves on our ability of weaving lived experience, our professional qualifications and skills, and our relative passions to the forefront of how we deliver services. My own personal story demonstrates exactly that. I'm not going to talk to the elements of trauma today, but rest assured for many social enterprise founders, we do have the shadow of trauma on our shoulders. But equally, I am highly skilled and qualified. I have worked for over 20 years in the sector. I'm a certified practicing speech pathologist. I have postgraduate qualifications in family therapy, an executive master's in business administration in international leadership and social impact, and I'm a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors. And I also identify as a career-loving parent, neurodivergent, and member of our queer community. Everything that we do at CRSE Group comes back to a very clear why, which is around reducing mental illness and suicide in our society through inclusive and accessible economic engagement and reduction in executive and entrepreneurial isolation. We are guided by the bigger picture of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and we really look forward to partnering with you to help elevate the capability of inclusive leadership in our community, locally, nationally, and around the world. Please reach out to us at www.crsegroup.com or email our wonderful Joanne directly via admin@crsegroup.com. Thank you so much.